Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I'm Isani Gaetano. Good morning.
And good morning, Isani. How are you doing?
Sam. I'm great, actually.
Yeah.
Not letting the weather get the best of me today. So I'm good.
Unfortunately,
I'm in the proper headspace.
It got me, Isani. Unfortunately, it got me. I am completely under the weather after all the partying last week for Gimme 5, and it got me. I'm trying to recover now. But I do know that there's been talks of kind of like a flu going around, so I'll definitely encourage you guys to take heed of that information. Keep on washing your hands and wear your masks if you're around people that are sick. But I know that nonetheless, the show must go on, Isani, and it is Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, the 10th of December, right? So we're 15 days away from Christmas. I don't know where you are in terms of your decorating and your Christmas tree lighting and
it's Santa's
all that
North
good
Pole
stuff.
in my house since November 20th.
Wow, man.
No, I really take Christmas seriously over my side. And I find a lot of adults say, you know, as you get older, you tend to do Christmas for the kids.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm a kid at heart still because I enjoy Christmas so much. I love seeing my Christmas lights lit during the night and evening. And so for me, that's what brings me joy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be seeing any Christmas gifts under it, especially since it's only me. But that's fine. I'm just going to watch Christmas movies until they're completely over with. And yourself?
Nice. Well, I'll be the first to admit I'm woefully behind. It's because I'm tied up with so many other things.
That's true.
But I need to make time. I'll make that pledge to myself today that I need to find time. I have a project that I'm working on at home, but I can't get it off the ground just yet. Hopefully by tomorrow we get off to an earnest start. But it has to be done before the 23rd. I give myself the 23rd, yes.
Guys,
yes.
if you did not know, that is exactly one of the things that I learned about Isani very, very soon after meeting him. Around this time of the year, he's known for having projects, and I wouldn't necessarily call them DIY because I don't think that you do it yourself.
I don't have time to do it myself.
You kind of say, okay, all right, this is the time of the year. I'm gonna remodel my living room, and he brings in all these elves from the North Pole, and they put together this new living room for him. And so, can I ask what's the project this year?
Oh, I'm doing some outdoor work. Well, I'm doing inside and outside, right?
Okay.
I'm putting down some artificial turf in the yard.
Look at you. It's giving states.
I just gotta find a way of making use of dead space, so to speak, right? And so that's what I'm gonna be doing outside, a little bit of that. And then inside, it's like an entire thing that I have going on. I don't want to give out too much, but yes, friends and family who will come over should expect to see something different. He
is so, and again, when I say he, I mean Isani. I have to say kudos to you, Isani, for finding ways to enjoy your home space. That's one of the things that I've always said, you know, if you make your home your place of solace, you'll never want to leave. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for Isani, but one of the things that I love is that for a male, he definitely takes his home decorating seriously. It's giving HGTV over there.
I do it to ensure that my kids are able to enjoy the space as well, right? And so we usually have family and friends over. Yeah. And so we try to have the space in such a way where everybody could enjoy a piece of what's going on there.
All right. Well, kudos to you, man. No Christmas tree, but we'll take whatever comes with it over Isani's side. But we do got to jump into our What's Buzzing topics this morning. I know there are certainly topics trending both locally and internationally, as well as in our news and online. So let's head straight into that. All right, perhaps we can continue our conversation, Isani, based on what has been the talk for the past few weeks, really. And while it is quite a somber topic. I think it's still very much important for us to continue the dialogue of traffic accidents that have been taking place over the entire country. You would know, Isani, that yesterday we had to, well, actually over the weekend, we had to break the devastating news of up to 10 persons that lost their lives in a road traffic accident over the weekend. Prior to that, we've also been reporting on traffic accidents affecting male, female, kids, and it's absolutely devastating. I know when we have these discussions, usually what follows are ways that we can perhaps try to come up with solutions. And so we also heard from the traffic department yesterday and ways that they are hoping to continue to advocate for persons taking better caution on the highways.
I'm stumped when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Only because as an advocate and as someone who has done work privately to assist the government of Belize in raising public awareness where road traffic safety is concerned, we've tried almost everything. When you look at the various initiatives that are out there to sensitize pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists how to use the thoroughfares and what have you, there's hardly a rock that's not turned over where this is concerned. But I'll put that aside. From my perspective, Sab, as someone in the news, we were still only getting over the tragedy of the accident in Carmelita involving the basketball team from Key Carker.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week, we're dealing with another one where there are more casualties, 9 more at this point, right, than the one that we initially covered last week. And it's in a different part of the country, albeit, but it still goes back to the idea of how well we're able to use these public transportation spaces, right? There's an investigation that's ongoing to determine what actually took place on Saturday night along the Benke Road. But the major loss of life, I was having a conversation yesterday, very casual conversation with someone, and I said, would you have imagined that in the year 2024, more attention is being paid to traffic fatalities than perhaps homicides?
Yeah.
Right?
Very good point.
In previous years, when we near the end of the year, we're looking at figures and what have you, and most people, our minds are locked in, why we did X amount of murders or homicides for the year. And while we've been able to keep a lid on that, to keep the numbers at a minimum as best as possible, road traffic fatalities have escaped us altogether.
Yeah.
Where the mounting numbers of persons we've reported on motorcycles, vehicles, you name it, and the number just keeps going up. It's like, for me, it's at a skyrocket at this point.
Yeah, and it's concerning because in the case of the students from Ocean Academy, we know that their situation had to do with a blowout of a tire. That could happen to any one of us.
Yeah.
In other cases, you have to take extreme caution on the road and think for the other drivers approaching you as well. One of the points that was mentioned last week in one of the persons being affected, I believe it was Miss Pretty, Miss Cordona from Belmopan. I believe a loved one for Miss Cordona spoke about persons using certain lights when traveling at night. And Isani, I could tell you that I have been affected by that. I travel at night after the news, and I've seen some blinding lights approaching me at night. You feel like you need to almost pull off the side of the road to allow the person to pass. And that really speaks to persons' inability to recognize that you have to, your safety also involves the safety of the driver coming towards you.
Yeah.
Because if you are driving without considering that person, I could lose control of my vision and I swerve into them. simply because of their blinding lights. In other cases, we know that simply driving without due care and attention can lead to these traffic fatalities. And so the question is what we've been asking for the past, for the better part of the entire year. What else can we do?
Well, I think a very legitimate and pertinent place to begin from is enforcement.
Yeah.
Right? While yes, we do have patrols, checkpoints, and what have you along our various thoroughfares, perhaps we need to step up enforcement. What completely blows me away, how do 9 occupants fit inside a Corolla to go anywhere, even if it's a short distance?
Yeah.
Right? And that, when I heard of it, that was the first thought that came to mind. 9 occupants, 1 vehicle, a small vehicle like that. We're not talking like a minivan or something
car.
that has, that kind of capacity.
Which I believe the capacity is probably like 5 at max.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? It's one of those things. We'll be talking about this for some time. Again, like I mentioned, we're at the end of the year, and of course we'll be doing reviews of all the major news items, and of course this has to be prominent in what we will be putting together.
Have you ever recorded any type of accident like this that led to this number of people fatally being
Not in
injured?
recent memory, to be perfectly honest with you. However, in my time, we've covered traffic accidents where we had multiple casualties, but I can't give a head count to say if it's as many as 10.
Yeah.
But we've had stories where we've, seen bodies strewn on the highway and what have you.
Well, again, we continue this conversation. I know that later in our show, we'll be joined by a representative from the Belize Traffic Department as well, so stay tuned to that later on in the show. Moving to our second topic of discussion, and still on a somber note, we announced last night the passing of the president of the Belize Association of Persons with Diverse Abilities, Kenrick Theus. We would know Isani, he's been a regular face in the news.
Yeah.
I understand that he was supposed to also be on the show with us here on Open Your Eyes next week. But he had an untimely passing after traveling to, I think it was Brazil.
He was on his way to Brazil, experienced some complications when he landed in Panama, and unfortunately, he suffered a massive heart attack and passed away. Kenrick Theus is one of those persons. I would not have known him prior to his leadership of BAPTA and the advocacy that he was doing on behalf of persons with disabilities. But when I encountered him, I believe it was last year, it may have been last year, the year before, the very first 5-point breakdown that was done was one that I did on breaking down the census and how specific populations of Belizeans are affected by the information gathered during the census, affected in terms of how they're able to cater to those
provide resources.
Yes. Exactly. And so it was in that process of putting the story together that I met Kenrick Theus, and I did not know that one, he was he had been amputated. I did not know that because I spoke with him on the phone. I did not know what to expect, admittedly. But when he gave me the address and I showed up at his residence, then I realized, okay, this man is wheelchair bound. He had been he had double amputee. But that's not so much what caught me. It's his conviction in terms of being able to speak on behalf of persons who are differently abled, other than the situation that he found himself in. And some would say he was a firebrand because he always was outspoken and put his points forward regardless of how one feels or what have you. And so it created a bit of friction in other corners, but I could understand where he was coming from to say that if he did not stand up for this population of people, given his capacity as a president, then who else would?
Yeah.
And that kind of carried over in all of the other interviews we've done with him. Last week was a big day for many Belizeans with diverse abilities. It was a big day for us here at News 5, simply because I made sure that my colleague reporter did a proper story on the enactment of the disabilities bill turned law. And in the process of so doing, I ensured that my colleague Brittany Gordon sat with Kenrick, because he was one of those persons who spoke on the matter.
Yeah.
And from a very, very rational and level-headed perspective, it's not like he was expecting miracles. This was a work in progress, and there's still a long way to go and what have you. So he was very much invested in the struggle, so to speak. And to get that news yesterday, I was like, wow. I mean, it's a stark reality and a reminder that life is short.
It is. And as we mentioned, we were just in the process of scheduling to have him on the show next week, I imagine, to speak on the very same disabilities bill. What really struck me yesterday was the interview that we got with his brother, Michael Theus. And the way that he spoke about his brother being such an active member regardless of his, his disabilities. One of the last interviews that we did, as you mentioned, Isani, was where Brittany would have spoken to him. And one of the things that Mr. Theus spoke of was the way that sometimes persons with disabilities are viewed, whatever their disability might be. He spoke about the way that society tends to look at them as being lesser than, perhaps cognitively, for the lack of a better word. And you spoke, Isani, just now about what a firebrand he was. His brother spoke about how active he was, how involved he was in different sectors of society, tourism. He was a teacher at one of the IT vets, I believe, teaching hospitality or something related to cooking. So this was obviously someone who was well informed. And I mean, he was only an amputee because of being diabetic and losing his legs subsequently, and then another after. So it really, really reminded us that a lot of these persons that we tend to forget simply because of their disabilities, of having these ways that they can contribute to society. Mr. Theus reminded us that they are still very much present and can contribute to society. And that's why I believe that this disabilities bill is so important for us to respect, for us to put into action in all of the sectors in Belize as well. And so one of the only ways I think we can honor his life and legacy is by continuing that conversation even after his life.
Yes, well said.
Moving now into international news, and this one's pretty interesting, Isani, because of, I'd say, the reaction since it made headlines on international news. You would know that, I believe it was over the weekend or perhaps later last week, it was announced of a fatal shooting that left insurance company CEO fatally injured. Now, the reaction that I've been seeing online is to seemingly the suspect that was identified. And of course, the reaction to even the CEO being fatally injured as well. Yeah.
Well, so the developing news where this is concerned is the arrest of a 26-year-old suspect. The name is Luigi Mangione, right? He was arrested on Monday in Pennsylvania at a McDonald's. Now, as with all other investigative pieces, there's extensive background work that has been done into the life of 26-year-old Luigi Mangione. He comes from a very wealthy family in Baltimore, Maryland, and up until a few months ago led a very active social media life. He's one of those persons who graduated as a valedictorian, not only from a prestigious high school, but from an Ivy League college as well, right? What happened that led him down this road is still being investigated, right? But this individual is alleged to have shot and killed this insurance CEO. And when I first read the news late last week, they found the shell casings at the scene, and the shell casings had specific markings on it. Now, to go back to what you mentioned earlier, public response to what has happened has left me personally floored. Because while you would have expected that there would have been an outcry for this kind of brazen act, people started doing their own challenge. Americans that is, started doing their own challenge in terms. You know how Americans find some kind of way to make something comical or to
social
make light
media
of a situation.
challenge.
Yes. And so I personally describe it as completely inappropriate. It takes no regard for the CEO's loved ones. But at the same time, one could argue perhaps that it's almost as if though they're holding up a mirror to corporate America where CEOs and big business are concerned. If that is the appropriate way of doing it, I don't know. I perhaps personally wouldn't. But for them, perhaps it reflects a certain reality of how they view these people in these high offices.
I think insurance companies, to be specific, I mean, we know the association of insurance companies, especially in parts of the world like the United States, where something like healthcare is such a heavy topic. When we think of politics and even their elections, healthcare is one of the pressing topics that you would hear being discussed. And Americans essentially feel that these insurance companies are not in any way trying to help them. They're trying to make a buck from them. And so with the passing of this CEO, it almost seems like it's being celebrated as vindication for persons who perhaps would have lost their lives because healthcare insurance companies did not come to their aid.
Or felt slighted.
And so I've seen some of the reactions on social media that also had me like making a second look like, what? Am I seeing this right? It's almost like they are looking at this 26-year-old, kind of like the Robin Hood, who assassinated a CEO because of perhaps what these insurance companies represent. And so I'm not sure what else will be coming from this. As you mentioned, the investigation continues. I can't quite remember the 3 words that were on the shells, but it seemed like something straight out of a superhero movie, Sani. It was really, I'd say interesting, just for the lack of a better word. But we continue to follow this story. Our final topic of discussion, still on the international scene, more includes entertainment as well. And that has to do with a story that we have been speaking of for the better part of early this year, where Sean P. Diddy Combs has been he's actually detained now, and he is under heavy investigation where a lot of cases and persons coming out against him regarding sexual assault and even racketeering and human trafficking are all a part of this investigation. Now, we have been finding out many more names being called, and one of the more recent ones is actually well-known entertainer Jay-Z. He's now being added into this conversation. I don't know how much it is beyond the civil suit that was presented. I know we have heard from Jay-Z as well as the attorney that has been representing a lot of these young women.
So when I read this over the weekend, full disclosure, by the way, I think I'm one of the biggest Jay-Z fans. I think growing up and listening to music and being so entrenched in hip-hop, Jay-Z is my guy. I'll put that out there. But at the same time, too, everybody has their own life. Everybody has his or her own past and what have you. So this, to me, seems as it's a case where, you know what? If we think we have the big fish, or we know we have the big fish, let's go to the closest associate and rein him in as well. It could very well be that. I don't know. At the same time, some people could argue it's a witch hunt, right? Now, to me, the result or the impact of all of this, whether or not these 2 individuals, very high-profile personalities, are convicted, you're basically tarnishing someone's name, especially if it's an unfounded claim being brought. And this is the thing that I don't understand. And perhaps it's not for me to understand. I'm not a lawyer, an investigator of any sort in that regard. But how does one bring forward a case of sexual assault or rape so many years
20 years
later?
Ago.
That's the part that behooves me, right?
Yeah,
I'm
24
thinking,
years ago, actually.
Yeah, in this case, right? I'm thinking if someone has been sexually assaulted in any way, form, or shape. Perhaps there's time for that person to actually gather the courage within to come forward. I understand that. But when you have an avalanche of cases being thrown at one person after so many years, is it that they're trying to cash in on what they believe is this person's wealth or what have you? Those are questions that I have. So when the Jay-Z issue came up, and I read what the lawyer Busby put forward on behalf of his clients. This is one of the lawyers who has 120 cases, or claims I should say, that have been filed against Diddy. Now he has this other person now who is going after Jay-Z. Well, Jay-Z didn't waste any time in terms of being able to at least put in context from his point of view where he stands on the matter. And he's prepared to take it to court. And he's prepared to clear his name where that is concerned. Now, again, all of this has to be ventilated in a court of law to determine if it happened or not, or if he was involved or not, what have you. We'll see where that goes from there. But to me, it doesn't, at this point, negate all the work that Jay-Z personally has been doing in terms of social justice reform, in terms of his philanthropic endeavors, and what have you. So, it's one that we'll continue to look at.
For sure. For sure. We will be following it. If you have any thoughts on either of the topics mentioned, let us know in the comments section. And if you would like to suggest a topic for us to discuss in What's Buzzing, also let us know in the comments section. That does it for What's Buzzing. Moving now into our tradition for the rest of the month, Jingle Tales.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, we'll be continuing A Christmas Carol. Where we left off, Scrooge was approached by his nephew and reproached for his beliefs about Christmas. So, let's continue. "Uncle," pleaded his nephew. "Nephew," returned the uncle sternly, "keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it, but you don't keep it." Leave it alone then. Much good may it do you, much good it has ever done you. There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say, returned the nephew, Christmas among the rest. The clerk in the tank involuntarily applauded, becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety. He poked the fire and extinguished the last frail spark forever. "Let me hear you make another sound," said Scrooge, "and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir," he added, turning to his nephew. "I wonder, you don't go into Parliament, are you?" "Don't be angry, uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow." Scrooge said that he would see him. Yes, indeed he did. He went the whole length of this expression and said that he would see him in the extremity first. "But why?" cried Scrooge's nephew. "Why? Why did you get married?" said Scrooge. "Because I fell in love." "Because you fell in love," growled Scrooge, as if that were only one thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas. "Good afternoon." "Nay, uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?" "Good afternoon," said Scrooge. "I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?" "Good afternoon," said Scrooge. "And a Happy New Year." "Good afternoon," said Scrooge. His nephew left the room without an angry word, notwithstanding. He stopped at the outer door to bestow the greetings of season on the clerk, who, cold as he was warmer than Scrooge, for he returned them cordially. "There's another fellow," muttered Scrooge, who overheard him. "My clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam." At length, the hour of shutting up the counting house had arrived. With an ill will, Scrooge dismounted from his stool and tactfully admitted the fact to the expectant clerk in the tank, who instantly snuffed out his candle and put on his hat. "You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose," said Scrooge. "If quite convenient, sir." "It's not convenient," said Scrooge, "and it's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound." The clerk smiled faintly. "And yet," said Scrooge, you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day wages for no work." The clerk observed that it was only once a year. "A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December," said Scrooge, buttoning his greatcoat to the chin. "But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier the next morning." The clerk promised he would, and Scrooge walked out with a growl. The office was closed in a twinkling, and the clerk, with all long ends of his white comforter dangling below his waist, for he boasted no greatcoat, went down a slide on Cornhill and to the end of the Boys' Lane 20 times in honor of it being Christmas Eve, and then ran home to Camden Town as hard as he could pelt to play at blind man's buff. Scrooge took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his Blanker's book, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms in a lowering pile of a building up a yard, where it had so little business to be that one could scarcely help fancying it must have run there when it was a young house, playing at hide and seek with other houses and have forgotten the way out again. Now, it is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It was also a fact that Scrooge had seen it night and morning during his whole residence in that place. Also, that Scrooge had as little of what is called fancy about him as any man in the city of London, even including, which is a bold word, the corporation, alderman, and livery. Let it also be borne in mind that Scrooge had not bestowed one thought on Marley since his last mention of his 7 years dead partner that afternoon. And then let any man explain to me, if he can, how it happened that Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw it in the knocker without its undergoing an intermediate process of change. Not a knocker, but Marley's face. Marley's face. It was not impenetrable shadow as the other objects in the yard were, but had a dismal light about it, like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. It was not angry or ferocious, but looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up upon its ghostly forehead. The hair was curiously stirred, as if by breath or hot air, and though the eyes were wide open, they were perfectly motionless. That and its livid color made it horrible, but its horror seemed to be in spite of its face and beyond its control rather than part of its own expression. So, why is Scrooge seeing his dead partner's face in the knocker of his home? What's going to happen next? Tune in tomorrow as we continue A Christmas Carol to find out.
All right. What do you think about the story of Scrooge? It's one of those timeless movies. I'm familiar with the movie in particular, but I always love that story because it gives a different take on Christmas when we think of commercialism and where the frugal people are concerned. Quite an
That's
interesting
why when you refer to people as a Scrooge, it explains exactly the personality or the description of that personality.
Yeah, really, really interesting story. Guys, if you have not ever read the book, A Christmas Tale or Scrooge, you should definitely check it out. If you know anyone who might be a Scrooge, now you know why we call him that. Moving now into our weather update from the folks at the Met Service.
Good morning. Generally fair weather prevails, but an approaching cold front will bring changes later today. Skies will be cloudy at times today and tonight. Showers will be isolated and then will increase along with thunderstorms mainly along the coast tonight, increasing around the country tomorrow morning. On Wednesday and Wednesday night, skies will be mostly cloudy with a few showers, periods of rain, and isolated thunderstorms around the country. Winds today will blow from the east at 5 to 15 knots and seas will be moderate. High tides will occur at 5:36 this morning and 5:37 this evening. High tides follow at 11:28 this morning and 12:44 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 73 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 85 along the coast, and 87 inland. The moon will rise at 1:26 this afternoon and the sun will set at 5:19 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, impacts, if any, from sargassum will continue to be minimal as observations show little to no sargassum over our area. And that's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
All right, there you have it, your update from the folks at the Met Service. Moving now into our show lineup, we have 3 wonderful conversations to look forward to. In our first interview, we'll be joined by representatives from the Belize Traffic Department, and they'll be weighing in on the rise in fatal traffic accidents that we spoke of in our What's Buzzing conversation. They'll also be talking to us about the steps that can be taken to reduce accidents and save lives.
Our second conversation is a reflective and insightful look into the impactful work carried out by UNICEF during the term of Country Representative Alison Parker.
All right, and if you have been enjoying, or if you enjoyed our Gimme 5 week, you would know that we also enjoyed some Christmas cocktails with our friends from Travelers Liquors. Well, they'll be back today, and they'll be talking to us about their Travelers 12 Days of Christmas. So I'm sure you can anticipate what that will be about as well. But we got to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from the Traffic Department and understanding the spike in traffic accidents. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm the coordinator of the Benga House of Culture niche. Before the Belize Bank online service, I had to travel to San Ignacio because we don't have a branch, a Belize Bank branch in our community. Now with the service, I can conduct my transactions at the office, at the comfort of my home, just anywhere in the world. It has made my life much easier. I would recommend the Belize Bank digital services to everyone and anyone. It gives you back your time, it's highly reliable, it's available 24/7, and it just makes your life easier.
That I know you love them all incandescent light, but they like give off a lot of heat, easy for broke, and use more than 5 times the energy. This here, we going LED, okay? Let it go. Okay, let it go.
Making the change to LED this holiday season can make a big difference in your energy usage. Talk to your family about energy management today. Do a little, conserve a lot. Need help? The BEL 24/7 app has tools to get you on the right track. Download today and let's talk energy management.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected.
Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Belize, get ready. In Your Kitchen, Belize Edition is bringing you simple, healthy, delicious meals made just for you. Join Chef Ainsley and our team of nutritionists as they show you how to turn local favorites into nutritious, tasty dishes. Plus, discover the amazing health benefits of everyday foods right from your kitchen. Catch the premiere on Channel 5 on November 18th at 7:30 p.m. And tune in every Monday after for healthier cooking that's easy and fun. Brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with support from Taiwan ICDF, making healthy cooking a Belizean tradition.
This Christmas, get into the joy with Uno Fuels. Imagine winning a shiny motorcycle, a brand new 50-inch TV, or grocery coupons to make your holiday shopping easier. The surprises keep coming. All you have to do is visit Uno, and for every $25 on fuel, you'll get a coupon. Fill out and participate. Get a coupon for each quart of Uno lubricants or 2 for a gallon. Visit your nearest Uno gas station today, fill your tank, and drive into Christmas cheer with Uno. Uno, a brand committed with the future.
And welcome back. Joining us for our first conversation this morning is the Chief Transport Officer from the Department of Transport, Leon Gentle. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And he's accompanied by Deputy Chief Transport Officer Peter Williams.
Good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
We are here to discuss this morning, one, the spike in fatal road traffic mishaps that we've been experiencing, and two, perhaps a broader conversation to continue raising public awareness where these incidents are concerned. Once again, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Let's begin by getting from you gentlemen your perspectives on what has transpired over the past week alone. Earlier in the conversation, Sabrina and I were discussing how close these two major incidents have been. The one with the high school kids from Ocean Academy, and then a couple days later, a week or so later, this major tragedy involving 10 persons. Let's get your perspectives from the point of view of the Transport Department.
Good morning again, guys. I think the first thing that we would like to express is our deepest condolences to those persons who have lost a loved one in these tragic events. From the Department of Transport standpoint, we're here to basically speak about safety. It's important for us as drivers, as road users, to be able to foresee, to be able to apply safety measures. It's as simple as making sure that we're driving within that speed limit and to ensure that there's a level of roadworthiness of the vehicles that we use. It's important for the users on the highways to be also aware of the infrastructure and the roadways. Those are elements that have been huge factors in what we see that continues to increase these traffic accidents on the roads and collisions.
One of the things that we were pointing out just earlier this morning was the notion that at the end of the year we tend to focus on murders and you know, violence that takes place throughout the year. That's the numbers that we're tracking. But all the attention has seemed to be placed now on traffic fatalities. What do you guys make of this? Does this feel like perhaps a year that needed more work from the Transport Department? Or is it something that you perhaps believe your messages were not being received from the public?
So I would first like to underscore that road traffic collisions is a global issue. We have millions of persons losing their lives every single year due to road traffic collisions. Belize is no exemption to this. For us, we continue to see increases in road traffic fatalities in Belize, and it's unfortunate that it takes the loss of lives for the country to pause to look at road traffic or road safety within Belize seriously. That is extremely unfortunate. Time and time again, we are here on the different media outlets. We put out our different notices. You know, we try to get the information out to the public, and still we're here at this juncture whereby we have to mourn the lost lives of these individuals. And so from our standpoint, while we put in our efforts, because it is our primary mandate as the Department of Transport to ensure that our roads are safe, but there's only so much we can do with the resources that we have. With the processes that we have in place for persons to obtain their driving licenses, for the inspection of motor vehicles so that they can be safe on the road. Ultimately, we have to begin to highlight the fact that the person behind the wheel also bears a responsibility. The person who is walking on the road using their phone while they're walking on the road, those persons are other road users and they also bear a responsibility. Yeah. But we're not highlighting this, and so it's time that we begin to speak about it so that the public can understand that they also bear a responsibility as well.
To add to it, this year has been an alarming number of incidents, and I believe between last year and this year, I think last year we ended with 89 fatal accidents, and this year we're all the way up until 110. So there's a 22% increase in road collisions that resulted in fatalities. And so this is something that is urgent. It is something that as a community, as a department, as the government, as the basic road user, we all need to come together and have that holistic view of protecting each other.
Has there been any type of analytics where the types of accidents are concerned from drivers? I know I was just a few months ago, we were talking about motorcycle and scooter accidents. Now we're seeing large SUVs, cars, pickups crashing. Are you guys collecting information on the cause of these accidents? And if so, what's the analytics looking like?
It wouldn't be primarily the cause of the accidents, but it's a collaborative effort with the police department because they're the ones who primarily respond to these road collisions and do the investigative work on it. However, both motorcycles and SUVs and vehicles are the highest in the country, primarily motorcycles being the most prevalent. In the areas as it relates to where, it's primarily on the George Price Highway, mostly on the western side and up north. Those are the hotspot areas. The age limit is between the ages of 18 and 25. That's the highest ranking ages.
And it's so primarily affecting young men.
Is it perhaps that at that age, the road users, and I say that broadly to include cyclists, everybody, right? Is it perhaps that we feel as though we're invincible?
Yes.
I ask that because most of us at that age, primarily young men, we feel as okay, we could speed, we could multitask while using the carriageways, and nothing can stop us, so to speak. So there's that reckless abandon, I'll describe it as, that results in these kinds of incidents.
Correct. Yes, so the data has shown, scientific data has shown that young people, in particular young men at that age, they're more risk adverse, right? They're more prone to taking risk, and so that is something that we're fully aware of. And it continues to be a challenge in terms of how we address this issue. We continue to look at how we can improve the process for issuing a Belize driving license, and that's something that we continue to look at now. Even when it comes to certain mental health issues, that's something that for many years we have not considered when issuing a driving license. Primarily you get a physical examination and that is all you need, but we have a lot of people within this country who are suffering their own mental issues, and so they need some further analysis before we can issue the driving license, because that is a main component how we put people on the roads.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Right, that is a start. And so we're looking at it, and hopefully with consultation from various stakeholders, we'll be able to resolve it.
Isn't it a bit frustrating considering all the public awareness efforts that are being undertaken and trying to measure the effectiveness of the messaging? I'm saying that simply because we've sat on this couch. In our individual capacities, we've spoken about road traffic safety and awareness and what have you. But it doesn't seem as if though the message resonates with the public. And I'm saying that from the point of view of only one stakeholder. You have so many other stakeholders involved, and they're doing their part to raise awareness and to train and to do all of these other things. But it doesn't seem as if though it's working at this point. That's just my take. But I'm asking if you guys at any point feel frustrated in trying to keep up a momentum that seems to be quickly going downhill.
I would say that at times it's, I wouldn't say frustrating, because this is our profession, right? And so we try to find the benefit to it, in the sense that, okay, we realize that what we have been doing over the past years has not been working, as you rightfully intimated, but it allows us to rethink and to reimagine how we can deliver the road safety message. Oftentimes we look at more developed countries and we try to emulate their strategy, but we're realizing that that's not necessarily working for us here in Belize. And so we need to begin to reimagine how we want to deliver this message to road safety. And so for us, we're not afraid to fail. When you fail, you're able to learn from your mistakes and to try to develop new strategies. And so that is what we're trying to do at the department. And so already we have been meeting to develop our new strategy for the new year coming, and so you'll be seeing a spin on how we deliver this road safety message, because it's not getting through to the Belizean people anymore. At one point some years ago, we used to focus on the data, and that was effective at one point. We would put out the data, and the public would say, man, so many persons are dying from road safety, and then we would see a reduction. But due to other factors, we are realizing that that is no longer effective. So we need to re-strategize. So we don't get frustrated because the message is not being well received. We see it as an opportunity for us to reevaluate and re-deliver the package.
Do you think that the public is probably getting desensitized to all the accidents that we're seeing, where every day we're reporting on 1 or 2 road traffic accidents? It's just like another accident on the road.
Yes,
do you
certainly.
think, and that's one of the conversations that I'm wondering if we need to have, if perhaps it needs to hit so close to home that that's when we realize it's time to take action?
So what I would say to that, again, from my view, I do believe that there is a degree of desensitization that has occurred, not just with our local media, but from foreign media as well. We see the glorification of speeding and all these other improper driving practices, right? And so, yes, I would agree that there's a degree of desensitization. But I think also that we want to be able to see how we can develop new strategies and new protocols for the department and for the various municipalities when it comes to issuing driving licenses, when it comes to how we take care of our motor vehicles and all these things, and hopefully that is going to aid, no?
To add to the conversation, I think it's also important, like you mentioned, to when you speak about frustration, it's not really frustration. It just makes the job a little bit difficult. What we want the public or the general public to understand is that change starts with me. So it comes from within. And like you mentioned earlier, once it hits home, then that's the factor of change. However, we should not wait for that to be the case.
I shouldn't have to see what you're going through for me to have to go through it and learn a lesson from it. I'm supposed to be able to see what you're going through and appreciate that, okay, it requires a behavior change. And I think as much as we try to impart this particular message that it begins with you, the individual, I don't know how impactful that has been when you look at the overall scheme of things. But I'll just leave that there. I want to go in a separate direction at this point, more so to do with enforcement, because part of that responsibility lies on the transport department, if I'm not mistaken, to ensure that our carriageways are properly policed, in a manner of speaking. I look at what happened on Saturday night, and I still can't wrap it around my mind how 9 persons could get inside a vehicle, and from point A to point B, perhaps there was no checkpoint or no specific area where someone in authority could have said, you know what, this is way over the capacity, you need to disembark.
I think like Peter had said earlier, that we need to re-strategize as it relates to enforcement. We do have officers out on the road, and we do have our trucks patrolling all up until 10, 11, sometimes at night.
Up to 3.
Sometimes up to 3 in the morning. And so one of the elements in my humble opinion was that, and I'll take that accident or collision as an example. We started from the border point. That is that we do have not maybe traffic officers, but there are public officers at that border point. And while we are not casting any blame, but someone should have said, guys, that's too much. We have to be our own brother's keeper at some point. Coming along the highways, I know the police department had said that they flew a checkpoint, and there wasn't a level of mobility there to be able to chase after. These are elements where we, as the Department of Transport, in collaboration with the police department and the municipal authorities, have sat on the couch to say, listen, guys, we need to be able to do somewhat of a round-the-clock type of enforcement where we collaborate with doing shifts throughout the night, so to speak. What that challenge is, because some of our officers are trained to deal with these levels of aggression, and we would like to at some point collaborate with the police to be able to understand or ascertain that level of security while we're out there. because it's important for us to safeguard our officers as well. And so we wouldn't want to put them in a situation where they're not equipped to handle aggression or handle persons at the checkpoint being overly aggressive. So there has been that conversation. We have, we actually had a full plan schedule out for December and the upcoming months in collaboration with the police department. A couple nights too late, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to safety measures that we all should be taking. I know that we're running out of time, but let's talk really quickly about seatbelts and the importance of wearing seatbelts, because something as simple as buckling up could be the safety measure that saves a life.
Yeah, so it goes without saying the importance and the monetary requirement for use of seatbelts for all persons in a motor vehicle on all public roads. We cannot understate that enough. The law was recently amended, and so we want to remind members of the public that you are required to wear your seatbelt, the driver and all the passengers in the vehicle. Again, as we reflect on the collision that took place, you have a vehicle that the maximum capacity would be 5 persons. They're carrying 9 persons in the vehicle. That is a clear indication that they were not respecting the seating capacity of the vehicle and the use of seat belts. One thing that most people don't understand, if you're in a vehicle and you're not wearing your seat belt, you essentially become a projectile.
Correct.
Right? So even if you have 4 persons in the vehicle wearing their seatbelt and 1 person is not wearing their seatbelt, in a collision that person becomes a missile, and they can have damaging effects on the other persons in the vehicle. And so it's important. The seatbelts were designed to keep you secured in the vehicle, to keep you safe, so that you don't bounce around in the vehicle or that you're not thrown out of the vehicle and so on. It's for your safety.
Yeah.
Right?
I always go back to my very own personal experience that I had earlier this year, where I was involved in an accident, not with any other vehicle, but I am sitting here because of wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
And when I look back at my vehicle that I no longer have because it was absolutely totaled, I know that that was because of wearing a seatbelt as well.
I wanted to share an analogy. Oftentimes I hear people say, oh, the seatbelt is not 100% safe. And I would often say to people, well, if you have some type of ailment or illness and you go and you take medication, most medications are not 100% proof that you're going to recover or get better. But we take it anyway because we know that it's a high possibility that it's going to help us. Apply that same concept to the use of your seatbelt. Right? And the last point I wanted to tie in, you had mentioned with the enforcement and the strategy that we have been using in terms of putting out the numbers to the public. I believe we need to go back to publishing the names of persons who we convict, because there is a misconception that the Department of Transport is not enforcing. But we are not in the business of publicizing all our convictions, but we have convictions daily. Right? And there was a point in time where we used to publish the names of persons who are convicted, because that is public knowledge. And perhaps we need to revisit that approach, because at that time we realized that it had helped, but we like I said, we're not in the business of shaming people. We're not in the business of pointing fingers. We are here to ensure that our roads are safe, and we want to keep it that way. But perhaps, like we said, in looking at re-strategizing, perhaps that is something that we'll bring back. And so for those persons who are out there committing these offenses, know that this is a likelihood that we'll be publishing your convictions.
Well, gentlemen, we look forward to having you guys back here very soon, perhaps speaking about other ways that the department will be campaigning for road safety.
I think we intend to come back to have a discussion on a more positive note as it relates to promoting what we do at the department.
Absolutely. We can't have you here only on somber notes. All right, we're going to take a quick break now, and when we come back, it's all about reflecting on progress with UNICEF. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
people and wondered, now, where they get so much money from? Well, the truth is sometimes it's legit and sometimes it's not. You might be envying what other people have, but you don't know what they did to get it. Under the new Civil Asset Recovery and Unexplained Wealth Act, suspected criminals will have to prove that their income and assets came from legitimate sources. And if they can't prove it, the authorities can ask the court to confiscate their assets. The legislation looks at the connection between the asset and the offense, and not the person. So the fancy cars, the jewelry, even property could be turned over to the state. These assets could then be used to compensate victims or for other social objectives like rehabilitating drug users, educating the public, and supporting the work of law enforcement. Additionally, under the new law, a conviction is not needed to confiscate the targeted assets, as long as the suspected criminal can't prove how they accumulated their wealth. The authorities can ask the court to confiscate their assets. Civil asset recovery legislation equips authorities with a new tool to tackle property gained from hard-to-investigate offenses such as corruption, drug trafficking, and fraud. So help us in reporting suspicious financial transactions and unexplained wealth. Let's take the money out of crime. This message was brought to you by the Financial Intelligence Unit and the U.S. Embassy, Belmopan.
My name is Hermine Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Technology is ubiquitous and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
It's Christmas time, Channel 5, bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, I'm on your side. Through every storm, we're your guide. With with laugh, debates, and moments true. We share Belizean life with you. So raise your voices, Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel 5. Let's keep the magic of hope alive. We've got goals that shine so bright, like a Christmas star on a silent night. More content, stories, and tech upgrades. Oh, Channel 5, we're here to stay.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. This is our second conversation for the morning, and perhaps it's a reflective one. We are joined by Allison Parker, the country representative for UNICEF, and I understand that you just about have a few more days here with us. We will be talking about your tenure of 4 years living in Belize and doing the work as country rep over at UNICEF. Good morning, Miss Allison. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes. Let's talk a bit about the interesting experience you had in Belize for 4 years. What I think is really interesting to mention is that your introduction to Belize and even your entrance to Belize was essentially by road because of the time that the entire world was experiencing in 2020. We were in a worldwide pandemic, and so Belize essentially had its airport on lockdown. And so you entered Belize by road. Let's talk about your experience coming to Belize as country rep and what that has looked like for 4 years.
Thank you very much. I think that was a very, unique moment because I think sometimes we reflect on COVID and it looks a little bit like a little far away now, but a lot of us came in at a time of COVID. So I was appointed to join Belize around about June of 2020. And, initially we thought it was going to be, at that time, Belize had really not got the numbers yet. So things were still open and functioning. And just about the time that I was supposed to come, then the cases started rising in Belize. So, of course, the world was going into shutdown and lockdown, and Belize also went into lockdown, and so I kept waiting for the airport to open, and they said, okay, maybe next month, and then maybe next month, and then maybe but the numbers kept rising.
Yeah. So
finally we decided that, okay, I really need, the office needs somebody to still come in because there was a huge gap between my predecessor and myself. And so I had to find a way to get into Belize. So I flew into Mexico, Mexico City. Then from Mexico City, I flew into Chetumal, and then I drove in from Chetumal right into Belize City.
You drove?
No, not me directly. I had a driver driving me in. But it was amazing because then I really had almost a panoramic view of that journey from Coruscant, Orange Walk, right down to Belize City. And it was amazing to see just from the border right into the city what Belize looked like. So I had an amazing introduction to the country.
So you've been here for 4 years. During that time, you've seen firsthand perhaps what some of the challenges are, either from a policy perspective or a very human perspective, insofar as the way we deal with children and children's affairs. What for you has been perhaps one of the most challenging situations in terms of carrying out your work as a country rep on behalf of UNICEF?
I think there are two areas where I think we still have a lot to do. And not to take away the tremendous effort that has been made over the time, because at least at the time I came, for instance, schools were all closed down. At the time I came, we didn't even have a health component to our country program. So, we were in a sort of upper middle income country in the Latin America, Caribbean region where all of these had been significant gains made. But then today we have seen the transition on where schools are today. Schools have reopened, functional. There's a new curriculum that is being developed and almost becoming a model for the Caribbean. So a lot of gains have been made. And within our health sector, again, our programs have really taken to scale with coaching, etc. But as you asked, two really important areas is the issue of violence against children. I think that remains something that we will continue to work with, because a lot of effort has gone into that. A lot of investment has gone into that, but there are still some residual issues that we still see. We still see in the media today a lot of reports of children being either exploited, abused, or exposed to one form of violence or the other. And this is across the board, from various spaces, either in communities, either in establishments, you know. And I think that is an area where we will continue to invest and hopefully be able to address some of those significant policies. You were mentioning some of those legislations, and I'm really pleased that at this time we have the bill for the child marriage going to the Senate already, and I believe that hopefully by the turn of the year that should be going through. That's a very important one, because for us as UNICEF, we realize that 87% of those who report gender-based violence are actually young persons under the age of 16 in some form of early union or marriage. So that's going to be a fundamental part of addressing some of that violence issue.
So if we can stick a pin and perhaps elaborate on that just a little. As far as I am made to understand, this idea of putting together this legal framework, if I could describe it as such, came from the Children's Parliament, with a young presenter putting forward this bill, so to speak. And what is interesting about it is that it has taken full form, elevated to actual Parliament, and now we're almost at the point where it will be signed into law very soon. It's a milestone achievement. How do you feel in terms of perhaps a sense of pride that UNICEF played a significant role in getting this off the ground to where it is?
This is one of my most exciting moments. Even on the day that it was being passed, you could tell that the kids were in the room. And I think the first reading of the bill was on the 20th of November, which was World Children's Day. And whilst they were reading it, there was a whole group of children outside. And when they started reading it, the kids were shouting outside. And you know, you could actually feel chills running through you, because this is what we're here for. How do the voices of children really get heard, listened to by policymakers, and we see it actually being translated into a concrete bill, concrete action for children. I think I really give kudos to the government of Belize, to the Parliament. I think a number of the champions I really need to mention is Speaker Valerie Woods. She was amazing. The President of the Senate, Madam Caroline, they were really pulling it together. And of course, I think the champion of that bill has been Minister Dolores Valderramos. I think there was a lot of heavy lifting that had to go into it, but I think this is a testament to the young people out there and the Children's Parliament that your voices are being heard. It's not just a show, it's not just a moment where we just come together and just have an event. It is something that really translates into legislation for change.
Although your tenure has come to an end, or is coming to an end, the work continues. Are there any projects that you hope to see come to fruition even after you're leaving Belize?
A lot of them. I think my team can tell you that, you know, it's been, the 4 years have been, they tell me that, you know, we walk on a treadmill, but I run on the treadmill. So, but I think there are three key areas that I really want us to see us moving forward with. One is the social protection strategy. I think that's a fundamental one when we are looking at vulnerabilities and those who are most left behind, to ensure that they have not just a net, because the nets can be fragile and break, but a floor, so that they can be able to stand against a number of the shocks that we are seeing. You know, we are seeing heightened levels of climate change. You know, the frequency and scale is increasing, but yet, how do we ensure a consistent, not ad hoc, but a consistent, systematized approach to ensuring that young people and vulnerable families, persons with disabilities, elderly, unemployed, have a floor to hold on to? And I think we are at that penultimate stage where hopefully should be going to cabinet. And I really, really hope that, you know, while sitting on the other side of the hemisphere, I would hear that Belize has been able to have a social protection floor established. That's one key area. Another key area that I'm really looking forward to is the model curriculum reform that is going on. I really think it is fundamental, because I was just talking with a young person out there, but the skills of the 21st century really needs to be something we need to invest in. Our human capital is fundamental. That's the greatest asset of any nation. And if we're able to make that critical investment so that people can learn and earn, I think it's going to be important, and both for men and for women. And I think the gender considerations there are really important. And the third key area, I think, is the investment in the primary health care. There's a lot of work that has been done. I know there's tremendous pressure to address tertiary healthcare because of what we are seeing manifesting, you know, in terms of non-communicable diseases. But I also understand that if we miss out on that critical investment in those formative years of 0 to 5, the cost after is going to be huge. And so even as we balance the equation and try to cut the pie and the cake, whichever one you want to call it, I think there has to be that balance to ensure that as we focus on tertiary, as I do understand, we can't leave the primary healthcare pieces behind. Because for today in Belize, the highest number of infant mortality is within the first 24 hours of birth.
Yeah. We speak about premature births and all of that, and how that affects life even after. One of the things that I'm curious to know, Ms. Parker, is your perhaps research that you did on the landscape of Belize where young people is concerned prior to coming. Were there key information that you were hoping to gather to determine how you can place and how UNICEF can place its input and impact for young people? What was your observation and findings of Belize where young people are concerned?
Well, it's interesting you ask me that, because I actually started my career as a radio journalist, having a program called Accent on Youth, where I was actually going out into vulnerable communities and having conversations with either kids living on the street or kids in very difficult circumstances, you know. And that has been a passion of my life. So coming here, I think one of the really exhilarating experience I've had is how engaged the young people are. They are really and truly engaged, and they are brilliant, you know. I remember that we just supported the Summit for the Future with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And oh my God, we were sitting there and listening to them. We're talking about digital transformation, we're talking about cybersecurity, we're talking about the next level of AI, and they closed us down, talking about this generation that is sort of lost in this current space, you know? So it was really exciting to see that the level of thinking, analysis that were coming from these young people. And just like last week, we had another TED Talk on what were some of the significant gains, looking at the Convention of the Rights of the Child at 35. And so for me, the work we've done with the Children's Parliament, like you mentioned, the work we've done with you reporters, I mean, it's just, you have an amazing, Belize has an amazing crop of talented, intelligent, and really transformative citizens that are going to be the next generation for us.
So this is, for us, essentially an exit interview with you. So I'll take the opportunity to ask, in looking back at the 4 years that you've been working here in Belize, aside from the soon-to-be passage of the law that we've been discussing, what would you say would be your hallmark achievement that you leave a legacy behind for anyone who succeeds you at UNICEF and for anyone who sees the work that you've done here in Belize?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think one of the best things that I have had over time is the team at UNICEF Belize. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank the entire UNICEF Belize team, because you can be a leader with a vision, but if you don't have a team that really believes in you and can work alongside you, I cannot claim any sort of success because I had the technical people. When I come with these, I tell them when I come with my crazy ideas, you had technical people who can crystallize them and really transform them into concepts that are actionable and we can deliver for children. So really, I want to take this opportunity to thank UNICEF Belize team, and I think that's the greatest asset that I can leave as a legacy. If we have a strong team, we can do amazing things for children. And that work that they do, the partnerships that they forge, the engagement that they have, their passion, their commitment, late hours, odd hours, I think that has made us go a long way. They took me to Machakila, they took me to Milky Way, they took me to Atasha, they took me to, I don't even know how to call all of these names, but I went extreme south, extreme north, extreme west. I went to the border with Guatemala, but that was because I had a very solid, formidable team to work with. So I think that would be the legacy I will hand to everybody. If you have a solid team, I think we're not many. I usually tell them that during a midterm review, I ask the team to stand up, because I think sometimes, you know, you think that we have a whole army. No, we are not many people, but we have big vision and a big dream and an amazing mandate for children.
So where to next? I mean, you've been here, you're almost an honorary Belizean at this point. For
I was told I missed it by just a year. If I had stayed till 5 years, I may have been able to
get permanent residency.
Permanent residency, yeah.
So where to next?
Well, I'm fortunate to be going to Eastern Southern Africa, so I'm going to be based in the UNICEF regional office in Eastern Southern Africa. So I'm going to be in Nairobi, so if any of you are coming by or thinking of having a safari,
Kenyan skies,
you know, please, you can always reach out to me and we can do a tour together. Some have enjoyed the tours here in Belize. Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ms. Parker. I know that many Belizeans have been impacted by the work that you and your team have done over at UNICEF, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. And just before I leave, let me just let you know that there are two things I will go with. Not just, I mean, it's the people, it's the culture, but I will forever remember the hudut and the dukunu.
And the
hudut and dukunu.
Yes, so,
excellent choices.
So these were two choices that I think I had.
All right, well, you got to take some dukunu and some hudut for the folks over in Eastern Africa to try.
Yeah, I sure will.
All right, we take another quick break now, and when we come back, it's all about Belizean travelers, 12 days of Christmas. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Take control with My Social Security, your secure online account to manage all your Social Security information. To create a My Social Security account, you must be 14 years or older and have a valid email address. Visit the My Social Security self-service portal at ssbportal.org.bz. Click on Create Account. Enter your date of birth and phone number. Next, verify your email address to continue. To verify, simply enter your email address and click the Send Verification button. Enter the verification code sent to your email inbox to proceed. Next, create a password that meets the requirements. Enter the name and select the reason for your account. Then click Create. Your My Social Security account was successfully created. Your information security is our priority. If you have a Social Security number, click Link My SSN to link your Social Security number to your account and activate using the steps in your confirmation email. If you do not have a Social Security number, click Register with SSB. You are now ready to truly experience Social Security at your fingertips.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
For 15 years, Oceana Belize has proudly stood alongside the people of Belize, protecting our marine habitats, safeguarding livelihoods, and ensuring that the beauty of our Caribbean Sea endures for future generations. Together, we've achieved incredible victories, safeguarding habitat from the inherently dangerous and destructive offshore oil development to increasing the use of selective fishing gear to reduce overfishing, advocating for a sustainable future for all Belizeans.
We want to always be able to fish. Oceana listened to us and made sure our voices were heard by the decision makers.
Being a wave maker has shown me the power we have when we come together for something bigger than ourselves.
I am proud to be part of a team of dedicated Belizeans who wholeheartedly believe in the people of Belize and the right to a healthy, thriving ocean.
But our work is far from done. So many challenges confront the Caribbean Sea, from the existential threat of climate change to insidious illegal fishing. Together, we will continue fighting to protect the people, Alawi, who depend on the beauty and bounty of our waters. With your support, we look forward to the next 15 years, committed to empowering communities, safeguarding marine ecosystems, and creating a future where both people and special places thrive. We're proud to stand with you for our Belize, land of the free by the Caribbean Sea.
This Friday, the 13th, Mikado is offering a real throat slashing on prices. Come and get a great deal this Friday the 13th. Don't miss our massive Black Friday this weekend, Friday the 13th. All our prices will be peeled to their bones. Come downtown to Mikado at number 37 Albert Street and get awesome deals on all our items this Friday the 13th.
Jason, please let me go. Let me go, please, Jason. I am going. Spare me. I must head to Mikado now for the Friday the 13th sale.
I have slashed the prices at Mikado. Now go take advantage of the low prices this weekend, Friday the 13th. Go now.
Mikado, your textile powerhouse. Centrally located at 37 Albert Street, Belize City.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. This is our final conversation for the morning. And as we mentioned, it's all about Belizean travelers' 12 days of Christmas celebration. We are joined by Felicia Pelayo, and she is the Media Relations and Communications Specialist representing BTB. And also joining her is Sitna Belize, the Community Relations Coordinator, also representing BTB. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome back.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us on your new set. We're loving it.
It's nice, right? So, Belizean travelers are celebrating their own Christmas. And I think we can already guess what that will look like. A lot of traveling across the country, really the type of Christmas that we would like to enjoy.
All right.
Ladies, let's talk about how you guys are ensuring that the public celebrate Christmas the Belizean traveler way.
Okay, so the Belizean traveler edition of 12 Days of Christmas, it's a fun-filled activity. It's starting right here on December 12th to the 23rd. And it's a social media campaign essentially where we're encouraging people to show us how you celebrate Christmas Belizean style. there'll be a challenge. I'll let Sitna get into what the challenges are, what some of the prizes are. But there's a challenge, Belizean theme, that you're able to do each day, and you're able to win one of the fantastic prizes.
Ooh.
So we're doing this campaign in collaboration with our tourism stakeholders. We really wanted to give back to Belizeans the opportunity to enjoy dining experiences, tours, staycations that maybe they didn't have the time to or able to throughout the year.
Yeah.
And our hoteliers, tour operators, they all saw the value of that, and they partnered with us by giving us free tours, free dinners. We have a really nice grand prize that I'll let Sitna get into. So it's really a partnership between BTB and our stakeholders to ensure that Belizeans get to see the best of our country. And the Christmas break, it's right upon us. So we know that families might be looking for things to do with their children. Couples might be looking for a little outing here and there, so this really is the perfect time for it.
Before we get into the giveaways for persons, I want to take a step back a bit and reflect on the Belizean Traveler campaign, when it started and how successful it has been in encouraging Belizeans to travel their country.
So it's been going on for several years now. It's really grown from a seasonal campaign where we had that traditional summertime slow period where we would see specials being offered to Belizeans, to a year-round campaign where we reach out to our tour operators or hoteliers and ask them to help us promote Belize as an affordable, accessible destination for Belizeans. Belizeans at home and also Belizeans in the diaspora, to see what our country has to offer. So throughout this year in particular, we've partnered with our stakeholders to find out what these specials are, these special rates, whether it's a year-round discount for Belizeans, whether it's a special that's being offered for a special occasion. We've partnered with them, and as we're going into the high season, we're seeing that there are a little less specials that are being offered, but still they are being offered for Belizeans.
And they're also affordable.
Yes, some of the places offer a 50% discount year round. We have a few on our Belizean Traveler website, www.belizeantraveler.org, where we ask stakeholders from November if there's any specials for Garifuna Settlement Day, if there's any specials coming up for the holidays or going into the new year, and they share that information with us. And if you are a tour operator or a hotelier and it's the first time you're hearing about this campaign, we do ask you to send us that information, and we're happy to publicize the specials on our social media. So we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, and that's where we put out a lot of what these specials are. We've also been putting out there a monthly calendar showcasing what some of the events are that are coming up. So we want to keep Belizeans informed of what they can do, where they can go, and also what are some of the things that they can see, places that they could stay, activities that they could enjoy.
Yeah.
Let's get what you have there in our schedule, Sitna.
Okay, so when we were coming up with the idea for the Belizean Traveler 12 Days of Christmas, as you guys are aware, Belizean Traveler really promotes like locals having the experiences of seeing what Belize has to offer, right?
Yeah.
So we really wanted to make these challenges a bit more cultural, a bit more tradition, family oriented. While yes, traveling is good, another dynamic that we would like to see more that you'd say as we engage more Belizeans is also seeing the different cultures, the different foods, the way we speak across the country. That's also a major component of being a Belizean traveler, right? So some of the challenges that you would see, like day one, is season's greetings Belize style. So share how you say Merry Christmas in Creole, Garifuna, Spanish, Mestizo, Maya, right? So of course, if there's another language, feel free to share that. What you would do here is like in a video component, maybe you would go to like a hot spot. Like let's just say a good example would be maybe the Belize sign,
like a landmark,
and you would have a video. It could be of yourself, of your friends, of your family, and you guys can come together and say season's greetings in your native tongue,
How
right?
do you say season's greeting in Garifuna?
I'll give it some thought. You caught me off guard.
Yeah, so of course now, so that would be challenge 1.
Okay.
And then challenge 2 would be traditional Christmas streets. So share a photo of your favorite Christmas street, whether it's black cake, whether it's rompopo, whether it's, I know some cultures have tamales, like
yes.
whatever it is that your culture uses or that you know is synonymous to you, share that with us. And so it's challenges like those that will be going online on Facebook daily that we are encouraging our Belizean travelers or followers to just engage in. Share a photo. The instructions for the day will have if it should be a comment under the post, if it should be a video, and every single day you have, for that day you have up until 11:59 in the night to post, and of course you'll be hashtagging Belizean Traveler Christmas, and then you'll @sign Belizean Traveler. That way we're able to see it, engage with it, and the following day we'll determine who is the winner for that day based on the creativity, based on if you're following the instructions, if you're following the social media page. And of course when we're posting these challenges, we have different sponsors for prizes. So let's just say for sponsor 1 we have let's just say sponsor 1 is a night stay at Villa Boscardi. Then for that specific challenge for the day, we'll have their logo on the you'd say like the little creative. So this is also a way where we're like highlighting our sponsors, and of course viewers, people who are engaging are able to maybe click into the profile. They're seeing what these businesses are being offered. So really and truly it's just a win-win where our followers or Belizeans are able to win these amazing staycations. Some of our prizes, like I don't know if it was mentioned since we've started, but we have like dining experiences, we have tour packages, we have hotel stays. Our tour operators really came out this time around, and we're just so grateful. We even have seen new businesses who have saw this as an amazing experience to put their business out there in the open, to market their business.
I just want to ask really quickly, because you mentioned that it's about creativity and following the instructions. Will there be any added element of the amount of likes or interaction that your post gets? Because I know oftentimes these promos include that.
Well, honestly, while that's a great component, it's not one of the like criteria for you to win.
Because that's hassling. It's so exhausting trying to, hey, can you like my post?
Exactly. No, I understand that, and if that's already not something that you're pretty like savvy with, like your social media presence, it may be a bit daunting, or people may feel a bit restricted or held back in participating with that specific requirement, you know. So just since we're on the topic of rules, maybe I can briefly just mention some of the things. So since especially it's activities and staycations that we're providing, we would require our participants to be 18 years and older. Participants are only to submit 1 entry per day. So we can't necessarily say for the let's just say for challenge 1, which is season greetings in your cultural language, I'm not supposed to say 4 entries from the same person, right? So 1 entry per day, and like you have up until 11:59 in the night to share your entry. And of course, the first thing as we get in the following day, we'll go based on you know, your creativity. If you've done the few requirements that we've had, then of course you're able to be selected as a winner. So all entries must include the hashtag Belizean Traveler Christmas and tag Belizean Traveler Facebook page to qualify. Winners will be judged based on creativity, effort, and relevance to the daily theme. So nothing too extravagant when it comes down to the requirements, you know. And lastly, prizes are non-transferable and cannot be exchanged for cash. So those are the very few rules that we have. It's a pretty simple challenge. I would really encourage Belizeans to take advantage of this, because you're really able to make the best of this experience.
So that essentially caps off what you guys have been doing with the Belizean Traveler for this year. And I know you guys are always busy coming up with some promotion or some event or activity. What can we look forward to from BTB in the early part of 2025?
Definitely more giveaways, partnering with our stakeholders. We're also going to be doing a lot more with our social media. We really want to get out there and show Belizeans, you know, when we say that there's a special available at this hotel or with this tour operator, what it is that you're going to be afforded. You know, it's nice rooms, you know, you're really getting some top-notch accommodations when you get a special. We want to show them this is what this tour will look like, you know, if you take advantage of this special. So we want to be out there more on the ground. We're definitely going to be reaching out more to event organizers to share their activities with us in advance, so we can put the word out there about what's happening across the country well in advance. And of course, we are also and always asking our followers on social media who are out there and traveling across the country to share your videos, share your photos with us by hashtagging Belizean Traveler, because you know, as Belizeans, sometimes we don't really buy into something until we see another Belizeans like ourselves doing it or going somewhere. So we definitely have a lot more that we want to do. And then I'll just also like to elaborate a bit more about what the prizes are for the competition.
Yes.
So we have a snorkeling at Holchan with Elite Adventures Belize, cave tubing at Nohoch-Che'en, with Vasquez Belize Expeditions, horseback riding in Placencia along the beach with barefoot services, a spice tour with Tropical Magnolia Resort, visit to the Maya temples.
A new resort?
Visit to the Maya temples with Belize ancestral tours and Coral Breeze adventures, full course dinner for 2 at the Bistro Maya Beach.
So what I'm hearing is that these are also experiences that you get aside from staycations, you know?
Yeah, and the grand prize is an unforgettable family getaway for 4 2-night stay with breakfast included at Chabel Mar. And all of these are sponsored. They're being offered by our stakeholders, so we're very thankful to them for this. And then there'll be some gift certificates for some shopping that are thrown in there, some phone credit as well. So you really have to tune in. You have to tune into the challenge every day to see what the prize will be for that day.
And
this is fantastic.
Also to add for the grand prize, right? The way that winner will be selected is that they have to be participating in a challenge from like day one. We won't say that you have to partake in all 12 challenges, but maybe I'd say 6+ just to be consistent with it. And so when we are determining the grand prize winner, we definitely have to see a consistent trend in maybe them engaging in the challenges throughout the
12 days.
Maybe it may be someone who won a previous challenge, or maybe it may be a new person, but like we said, it's definitely based on creativity, it's based on the consistency, it's based on the relevancy of the content that they're sharing.
All right, so you mentioned like 2 of them. Can we go through really quickly what the 12 days activities will look like? So I can see where I could pull out maybe at least 6 out of it.
So day 3 is festive holiday scents. Tell us about the smell that reminds you of Christmas.
So we just have to make a post that says
yes,
like
right?
Type it out.
So when we put out the challenges, we'll say, if I can recall correctly, day 3 is that you're commenting under this specific post, right?
So
you won't have to post a picture or post a video. So you post about your holiday scent. Like for me at home, it's always when I'm probably smelling the ham baking, or when I'm smelling, you know, that cinnamon apple air freshener.
I was gonna say cinnamon. Yeah.
So for me, that's a traditional scent in my home when Christmas time is around. So it'll be okay, Felicia, that's for her to post what's hers, Isani to post what's his, and like you said, for you, that's also the scent, right?
Yes. So that's 4 or 3?
No, that's 3.
Okay.
So day 4, Belize's brightest Christmas spots. So show off your favorite decorated spot. It could be your neighborhood or a landmark. I know a lot of times, even growing up as a child, my dad would take us around the neighborhood, even in Belize City in Kings Park, and we'll watch all the like houses that are lit up. So we would love to see photos of that, whether it's from Corozal all the way down to Punta Gorda, you know.
So, and that would be in a comment, or are we gonna go and make
that
a
would
post
be like a
say,
photo?
So I will go to Isani's house that's decorated outside, and I'll make a post and say, Isani don't know me, but I love his house.
Yes.
He lives on so street, and it looks like this.
Well, you don't necessarily have to go that specific with his address or who owns the home,
No, I'm
right?
kidding, yeah.
But definitely, like a challenge like this would be a photo.
Okay, great.
So day 5, festive family vibes. So share how you and your family celebrate Christmas together. Whether that's you guys coming together and having a big dinner, whether that's going on a family trip, whatever it is that's your family tradition, so share that with us. I don't remember if that's a comment, if that's a photo, but of course when we're posting these challenges,
the instructions will
be there.
All right.
So
all of these are doable so far.
Yes. So, well, that's what we were trying to go for. We want as much people like engaging and participating, so we didn't
Easy and
want anything that's too
Yes.
too challenging, right? So day 6, Christmas morning. Show us how you and your family spend Christmas morning, whether it's breakfast, gift giving, or relaxing. For me, typically, we're rarely like finished with our Christmas decor long before
so
Christmas.
So you finish late on
so
the Mali.
Christmas Eve, all 2, 3 in the morning, all of we still up, whether to put up Christmas tree, whether to hang curtains. So Christmas morning in my home, nobody's ever up early. Like we sleep in, and our first whatever we do will be now to prepare for lunch, which is your Christmas ham, turkey, whatever. So we always have a pretty
laid back.
There's an experience.
Some of us would say, you know what, procrastinating a bit until like the 20th, and then you have to hurry get
it makes it feel more Christmas, right?
Experience with that.
You know, that's a great point, because it's kind of like this universal Belizean experience that we're all kind of fighting for our lives on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Do you hear?
Go ahead.
You hear all the hammering and the fresh paint smell.
Yes. I'm the opposite though. I want Christmas season to last as long as possible. So I'm one of those persons. November 20th, right after the 19th, I'm pulling out the Christmas decor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I share that with you because I'm right there.
No, we haven't started anything as yet.
Oh, you guys are pairs in that. Okay.
So day 7, right? Belizean Christmas beat. So share your favorite Belizean Christmas song or a short clip of you singing it.
Okay.
So whether that's you waking up to Santa Claus, whatever, or Jingle Bells, or whether you have a local Belizean Christmas music, what is your favorite? So share a video with us with you saying it. Let us know who's the artist, what's the name of the song. So day 8, holiday outfit show off. So show us your festive look or accessories. I don't know about Uno. No, not so much, but when I was younger, everybody buy new clothes to Christmas. And we not got nowhere, Sabrina. We at home.
Yes, I agree. That was the thing. Everyone did it. You wear your Christmas outfit just to take pictures and say Christmas 2K18 or 2K9
under the Christmas tree.
Question, so is that like the village experience or
Oh, you know, because she is from village actually.
Yes, I do. It might be. Wait, what you do?
Well, first of all, how do I say? The clothes part, that's natural.
Yeah.
We don't wait till like Christmas or Easter as special events, right? You just got stuff.
Oh, okay.
But you go and visit people.
Yeah.
You don't dress up to stay home. You dress up because you're gonna go from house to house, get around Papa Black Cake.
No, we don't do that.
Even if we go no way, we wear that fresh suit of clothes.
From shoes right down to whatever you're having in your hair. But I would say that while my family, you know, when we do anything, it's Boxing Day. So I would go to my grandmother's house on Christmas Day. It's tradition even since up to last year from I was a child. My cousin would come and she and her siblings would come over like in the afternoon on Christmas Day, and she spends Christmas with us, and she already knows when she comes it's because she's eating whatever my mom has prepared, and we're spending the afternoon together. And even now that we're adults, like last year she brought her son, I had my daughter, and it's just to see where now we have new children who are now growing up in that tradition. So although we're adults and she no longer lives where I live, she still came all the way to Sand Hill and she spent Christmas afternoon with her little son at my home, you know. So now we're at day 9. Oh, Christmas tree. So share with us a photo of your Christmas tree. Bonus points for unique or local designs. So if you're able to incorporate local elements, Belizean elements on your Christmas tree decor, feel free to share that with us. That gives you a little added added you know. Yeah. So definitely we want to see your Christmas decor from outside. I was watching the Christmas trees that you guys have up, and you're way ahead of me. Like I had mentioned, we haven't done anything as yet. So day 10, family Christmas traditions. Tell us about a tradition that makes Christmas extra special for you and your family. Day 11, community. I'm laughing at the elves, community Christmas elves. So celebrate someone spreading the Christmas spirit in your community, whether that's someone in your community who is helping people who aren't able or who don't have it as much as you do, whether that's providing a couple people with meals for the day, whatever it is that they're doing that you feel really stands out during this Christmas time, that really shows the spirit of Christmas, we would like to have them highlighted. So I believe that that's a photo. Yeah. And then day 12, so Belizean reflections. So reflect on your favorite travel spots in Belize over the year, or someplace you'd like to visit next year. So of course we're tying it back down to Belizean travelers. So this is your day 12 challenge. And so everybody is able to participate in day 12, but also day 12 is when we also select the final winner. All right. So
grand prize winner.
Your grand prize winner. So when this finishes on the 23rd, whoever has submitted on 11:59 on the 23rd, along with all the people who have participated in the challenge over the last 12 days, on the 24th we will be highlighting who is our grand prize winner.
This is super exciting and also doable.
Yeah.
And so, ladies, I have to say kudos to you guys for coming up with the initiative, 12 Days of Christmas with Belizean Travelers. I can see a lot of people participating, commenting, taking pictures, but even being more intentional with sharing special moments with their families, highlighting other people in their community, doing good things as well. And I think if that wasn't the intention, it's definitely well executed as well. So kudos
it was
to
the
you guys.
intention, Sab. It was.
All right, there you go. Well, as we wrap up this conversation, I'll ask if you ladies have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers, or maybe even a Christmas message from Belizean Traveler.
I'll let Sitna think about the message.
And Isani, you can think about the season's greetings. I hope you have it.
Yes,
no?
Yes, you better have it.
My mind don't go past that. Sorry.
Just a reminder that the first challenge goes live on our Belizean Traveler Facebook. All the activities will be published on our Facebook. So Thursday morning, go on our Facebook and you will see the details there along with the prize for that day. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing all the submissions.
Yes, all right. I don't have. Well, I'll tell you season's greetings in Creole. Season greeting.
I'll say Merry Christmas.
And Isani, well, he still doesn't have it. We'll take our final break now, and when we come back, we wrap things up.
And I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer, with these online that Belize Bank offered, is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And In the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
We all know about the phasing out of single-use plastics and the enactment of pollution from the plastics regulations. One of the key components in this regulation states that for an item to be considered biodegradable, it must consist of more than 50% of bio-based content. Here, you will find out how the Department of the Environment determines what items meet the criteria and what equipment is being used to guide that process.
Since 2019, the Department of the Environment has been working with CIFAS in doing microplastics. Through this project, CIFAS has donated 2 microscope Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy equipment to strengthen capacities on monitoring and enforcement to reduce marine litter and plastic pollution. The FTIR can be used to identify unknown materials. The Department of the Environment will use the equipment to determine the composition of single-use plastics and biodegradable products to enforce the environmental protection, pollution from plastics regulations.
While we have a long way to go with the implementation of the pollution from plastics regulation, having this equipment is one step closer. For more information on what's being done about biodegradables and ways you can help, visit our website at www.doe.gov.bz.
Que esta temporada traiga amor, risas y momentos preciados. Te deseamos una feliz Navidad y un año nuevo lleno de esperanzas, alegrías y nuevos comienzos. Felices fiestas de parte de la gerencia y el personal de Atlantic Insurance.
Christmas time, Channel 5, bringing joy to Belize. From the news desk to the great outdoors, we've been working to give you more. From morning shows to breaking news, serving the truth is what we choose. Oh, Channel 5, I'm on your side, through every storm we're your guide. With laugh, debates, and moments true, we share Belizean life with you. So raise your voices, Christmas cheer. We've got big plans for the coming year. Together we thrive, here's to Channel 5. Let's keep the magic of hope alive. We've got goals that shine so bright, like a Christmas star on a silent night. More content, stories, and tech upgrades. Oh, Channel 5, we're here to stay.
Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us. It has been a fantastic show, and we want to say a huge thank you to all of our guests who stopped by this morning. It is December 10th, and if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to ya. And if you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BC, as well as Instagram for behind-the-scenes contents at OYE Belize. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes or minds
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Tuesday. Bye.
Was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and SMART, bringing people together.